All right, there we are back once again on the United and Everything Football Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for everything you are doing for us. I mean, you've patronized the sit down that we had with the guys, the Avengers, over the weekend, and it's been good. Thank you for all the comments that you've shared with us. We hope and we promise that we'll give you a lot more here on this channel concerning United. So we are here once again. Today we've brought a very, very big man, a very good friend of ours. I've been chasing him for God knows how long. Such a busy man. So when the opportunity arises like this and we get him back on the pod, we don't take it for granted. So thank you very much. My name is Kwame. I'm here with Kwame Nchubu and our senior Godfred Akoto Boafo, who has joined us back on the podcast. Today we will get him to promise that he will come back again, because he will have to promise us.
He's a hard man. He's a hard man to find.
The pact is between us, him, and all of you watching. Senior, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, the Kwamis. I will try and come back. I've been trying to come back, as you know. But,
yes.
The schedules have not been fair to me, but I promise to make more frequent appearances on the best podcast out there.
You heard it, everyone. You heard it. You are witnesses to the promise that our senior Godfred Akoto Boafo has given us. All right, so let's make a quick turnaround. Today we are looking at a few issues in the transfer market. A lot of you are worried. We'll try and address that. We'll try and analyze what's really happening, and also would look at the game that's coming up in the Community Shield against Manchester City. The last competitive game we played was against them at Wembley. The Community Shield, people call it whatever. I'll try and get the
glorified friendly.
Whatever, we'll get there.
I just defined it.
why you guys call it a glorified friendly, but the coach thinks it is a trophy. It is a final. That's how he refers to it. I'll get your thoughts on that, and then we'll look at everything football. We'll pay small attention to the people that are signing every hour, every minute, every second, and what is this whole project about? Anyway, we'll get to that. Here on United and Everything Football, let's make a quick turnaround. But before that, remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Let's grow this community together. We'll be right back after this. All right. Thank you very much. This is United and Everything Football Podcast. Let me start with Godfred. This is how the transfer business started. When the window opened, it was so quiet. Then there was a whirlwind of news, and some two players came in. Zexi came in. The big one, which was Lenny Euro, big one because of who we were competing with for this talent, came in. And then we've gone silent. And they look like the list is coming. It looks like Mazraoui is coming. It looks like someone is coming. And it looks like we are selling. We are unable to sell. A lot of issues happening. But what's been your general impression or general assessment of United's transfer business so far?
Well, it's been mixed, and it's been mixed because I was genuinely excited by Lenny Euro, for instance, because United did what needed to be done to get a player who, in 3 or 4 years, I feel could become a world beater, and losing him to a team like Real Madrid would have brought back memories of how we lost Rafael Varane back in the day. So I was happy that United went the extra mile. They ended up paying a lot, but they ended up paying for what they needed. You know, the others could have decided to wait it out. We couldn't have the same option. So I was pretty happy with that piece of business. Also because it was a position that required an upgrade, really. If you look at what we've had the past couple of seasons, we still have Johnny Evans in rotation, and we just give him a new 1-year contract. So that generally excited me. Sexy did not excite me. I watched a lot of Zexi. In fact, I've watched him personally twice in person, on trips abroad. And he's very skilled, I must admit. There are a lot of things he does well. He's a big boy. He's if you see him physically, I don't think he will. Yeah, he is. I think Zexi's around 6'2", 6'3", if I'm not mistaken. When you see
actually
him,
6'4".
Yeah, if you see him, the day I saw him in the tunnel, I was like, whoa, this is a big boy. Very skilled for his size. Reminds me of Berbatov in terms of his touch. He has a very soft touch for somebody his size. Can do some incredible things with the football in game. But my concern is this: we're looking for a goal scorer, and he's never been somebody who puts the ball at the back of the net consistently. If you look at his goal ratios, Bayern Munich, he didn't score a lot. They sent him on loan. Bologna, he looked okay. But he scored 9 goals or so at the end of the season. Deja vu, Rasmus Højlund at Atlanta scored 12 goals, and we spent a hoop load of money to bring him. And we saw his struggles, and I'm seeing the same thing happen for Zexi, also because I don't just see his game being the fox in the box type, which is what I think Manchester United need. Somebody who is thirsty to go for goals. That's the difference between an Erling Haaland and the rest, in the sense that you know this player wants the goals. Wherever there's an opportunity to be sniffed out, he's not looking for the sexy things. He's looking to put the ball at the back of the net. So Zexi did not excite me, although I want to be surprised by what he will be able to do, but I'm not particularly moved by that. Outside of those two, there's been the what ifs and what can come in, the mentions of Nazraoui. I'm a bit bothered by something, Kwame's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit bothered by the fact that Ten Hag seems to be a coach who wants to work with players he has worked with before.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to prefer a certain kind of skill set, certain kind of environment to be able to reproduce what he wants to do. I don't kind of get that in a coach. It doesn't convince me too much, by that, because Mazraoui was a player who facilitated Anthony a lot when they were at Ajax.
Yeah.
A lot of the things we saw Anthony do at Ajax was successful because Mazraoui some way, somehow found a way to complement Anthony better than most people ever did. Yeah. I don't know whether he thinks that is why he will bring him in or simply because he feels he is what we need, at right back. Mazraoui is not a very dynamic right back in my estimation. He's not very powerful. He's very technical, but speed and physicality have not been a key part of his game. So I was a bit befuddled by that choice, but again, it's up to him. If it does happen, and it looks like it will happen once they're able to sort out who is going in and who is coming out and how much it should cost United, I think based on the deadlines that Bayer Leverkusen have issued to Bayern Munich on Jonathan Tah, perhaps over the weekend, we should be able to get some action, because Bayer Leverkusen are saying in order for them to have certainty of planning, Bayern Munich must make a decision on Jonathan Tah by tomorrow morning, 11:59, basically today. So by tomorrow
Bayern Munich have actually made a decision already.
Oh, what did they say?
They said Leverkusen can fuck off.
Oh, no.
they're not going after Tah anymore. You can't keep him.
Okay, so then that's all, that
was according to Kicker from Germany. They were the ones that reported that.
Oh, okay. Well, Kicker is pretty reliable. I mean, when it comes to German football, so that will be an interesting dynamic for Manchester United, because it was a domino effect that was supposed to happen. This one goes there, we find some money, we ship this one there, because then that would have opened the path for Matthijs de Ligt to come in. I think again a player that United could do with. A lot of people don't seem to like his style. I think that if you look at him closely, he gets underestimated a lot because of the first season that he had at Juventus. But people forget the season that he left, he was an absolute monster. And the only reason he left was because they refused to give him more money. He didn't leave because he was not playing. He left because he wanted more money and they weren't giving him the money, and his agent took him to Bayern Munich, who agreed to pay the money.
Paul Scholes should hear this. Paul Scholes should hear this.
So,
Because it's completely written Matthias de Ligt off, saying
No,
he was a
I
failure
think-
at Juventus, and then
No,
he's been a failure at Bayern Munich.
I think Paul Scholes doesn't watch enough football.
That's true.
If you watch Bayern Munich, before the last 23 games of Bayern Munich last season, Matthias de Ligt started 83% of those games. Even when Eric Dyer came. So when he made the points that Eric Dyer came in and Matthias de Ligt was on the bench, that's not exactly correct. Matthias de Ligt, of the last 23 games that Bayern Munich played, Matthias de Ligt started 82% of those games. So he's been pretty consistent, and he does certain things well. He has a very good passing range. He can be physical when he wants to. Seems to fit into this keep the ball system, play from the back that Eric Ten Hag wants to. So that if he does come, good signing. What is worrying United is we are still struggling. We are still carrying the burden of the Glazers and the bad decisions that they have made over the years. Because here's the thing. We want to get rid of certain players. Clubs are interested. One, we are not getting value for money. Two, the wages that these players are on are absolutely ridiculous. So unless the players are willing to take a pay cut to go to those clubs, and I doubt, I don't see a 27-year-old or 29-year-old footballer who is going to take a pay cut at this time when he's not 35. To tell you that he's going on. Some of them will pull a Winston Bogart. They'll sit on the bench and collect the salary. So that's where the Wan-Bissaka issue comes in. That's where the Scott McTominay issue comes in. And look, on the Scott McTominay issue, I think United should take the money. I think they should take the money. Holding
like
out
yesterday.
Holding out for the kind of money they're holding out for Scott McTominay. I understand his numbers were good last season, got 10 goals and all, but he's 30 years old. You can't
27.
27. You can't look at the Emil Smith Rowe transfer and say, well, it's a bench player sort of thing. So Emil Smith Rowe is a different kind of player to what Scott McTominay is. Some will say that Scott McTominay is still a decent squad player. I agree. I mean, we could still do with 10 goals from him in midfield this season. But the point is this. We need some of these players to leave so that even the mentality of the team changes. So that you know that, okay, this kind of personalities have left, which is what United actually need. We need to empty the dressing room of some of these characters who have been there for 6 years, 7 years. Quite a few of them have left. We need more to depart. There can be a new mentality because, look, the culture change is very, very important. It's something all the major coaches do. Look at what Thiago Motta is doing, and that's why Thiago Motta has come highly rated, because wherever it is he's gone, he says, look, I want a culture change. So he's gone to Juventus and says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You need to find yourself a new club. I'm not going to work with you. Pep Guardiola has a similar method. Wherever it is he's gone, once he arrives there, he says, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to work with you. He likes to do it to very, very big players. You know, we haven't seen enough of that yet with us, particularly because nobody is willing to carry the baggage of the poor decisions the Glazers made with some of the contracts they gave out, and that is the difficulty. And that is where I guess our anxiety comes from. We are saddled with all these players we didn't want to see again, who are not necessarily bad players. Let's admit it, but there is fatigue. There is supporter fatigue from seeing this. The supporters want to see new faces. It's not that they don't think these players, for all we know, once they are fit, can do a competent enough job. Okay, perhaps once Eric Ten Hag is able to coach properly, which we haven't seen enough of, he might be able to get a song out of them. But the point is this: do I really want to start the season seeing another combo of Mason Mount, Casemiro, and something, and they are struggling to gel? No, I would prefer some newness, to just refresh my own life and my own thoughts. This is what football teams need, and football supporters. They want to see something new. It's not just about the new jerseys. It's about who is wearing those jerseys. So those are the things that will excite us. So those are the mixed feelings I have from our transfer window so far. What I don't want is for us to play City over this weekend, and we'll talk about that game. It doesn't go well, and we do panic buying. I hope we don't get to that point again and go and waste money. But we need at least 2 or 3 more players in my estimation, if you ask me.
Spot on.
Kwame, Today you have been anxious. You are part of the.
I've reached my limit in terms of patience.
Yeah. Interestingly, we're having a conversation on a group page, and Mami said he's anxious, and I said I've not gotten there yet. Maybe give me a week. Because I just want
You're a patient man. You're a very patient man.
See, when the Eric Ten Hag issue hadn't been how do you call it settled yet at the tail end of last season, when you had played the FA Cup and there was that period of quietness, you were at the other side and I was the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I was panicking and you were calm.
We've switched roles.
Interestingly, I am calm. I am calm, and I want to believe the new leadership or the new football leadership know what they are doing. I want to believe. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that Eric Ten Hag said in a press conference today that they know what they are doing. It might be a political statement, like you said earlier on, but I want to believe. I want to give them one more week. I want to see something after the Community Shield going into next week. Maybe a week, next week, Friday. If nothing has happened, then I'll join you.
I'll hold you to your word. Next week, Friday.
No problem. But let's hear you. There is a curious case of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. There's a revelation that came today from their contractual.
It actually came out yesterday.
That we have to give them a certain amount when we are letting them go, in case we are letting them go in the last year of their contract. Maybe you could explain it better to our viewers so they could understand. What was it?
All right, so there was this account, it's quite popular on Twitter, the Malaysians. They were the ones who actually broke this news. Okay. I was quite skeptical about the information when I saw it at first. He went like, Manchester United is struggling to get rid of players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Victor Lindelof because, we extended their contracts just at the tail end of December last year.
January.
There was actually a deadline. Early January, that we had to either decide to extend their contracts by a year, trigger their 1-year extension clauses in their previous contracts, or come this summer, they will be free agents and they would have left the club.
Yeah.
The club decided to trigger those clauses. But in triggering those clauses, this is where the whole problem starts. They came to an agreement with these players that the future transfer this summer, these players will be entitled to half the transfer fee. The reason being that if these players had not had their contracts extended by a year, 6 months ago, they would have been available on Bosman transfers. Bosman transfers means you could speak to any club in the world that you want and agree a contract with those clubs ahead of your contract actually running out. Meaning these players basically are free agents and are entitled to huge signing on fees. So in order for the club to sort of make something off them while selling them, they came to the agreement that fine, we will not sell you like short in terms of your money. So whatever money that we make, we keep half of it, and you actually keep half of it. I have never ever heard of such a thing in my life before.
And I know the one who negotiated that. It was Matt Judge. Matt Judge. It was during his time.
One of the last sins he committed before he left. See, the previous regime, I've been asking you on our platform, is there no way we can charge people for financial loss in any business, in any private business? Call them back, send them to court. Because I think money is passing somewhere. Some of these things, I don't understand it. I mean, this person is going to get half of it and then back pay you some certain amount because it doesn't make sense to me. Yes. I've always said Manchester United is was being treated like a government job in Ghana. It didn't belong to the money did not belong to anyone. So I'm sure they were just finding ways of chopping the money. It doesn't make sense. And so now we've agreed, according to reports, an £18 million transfer for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But if you look at the numbers, it's not like £18 million because if you are to believe what the Malaysians are saying, it's probably a £14 million plus 4 million in add-on, sort of. Of which we have to give 7 million to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and the club gets 7 million. I'm sitting here thinking, was that 7 million worth actually extending the player's contract in the first place? If Lindelof goes for a paltry, let's say £8 million to take, and we have to give him £4 million, we are holding on to Victor Lindelof because of £4 million. I don't know how bad our numbers are in terms of FFP, but if selling Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof is only going to give us sort of £10 million in our accounts, then it wasn't worth actually triggering their clauses in the first place, extending their contracts 6 months ago. Indians have a hell of a job to do in order to clean up the previous mess, in order to make strides forward. I think that is the challenges that they are facing now.
Yeah.
I think they may have underestimated things a little bit, thinking that, you know what, we are new people who have a different scope of things when it comes to how to manage all these things. But if you know the mess that you have to come and deal with, that you've never dealt with anywhere else before, this is a whole new assignment altogether. You've never faced this situation before where you have to take steps back in order to take steps forward. And unfortunately, that is where we find ourselves with 3 weeks and a couple of days for the transfer window to end, and I'm shitting on my pants, and you are saying I should keep calm. I can't keep calm.
Probably. But let's look at the midfield situation.
Yes.
Sander Berger is one name that has come up. The Ugarte deal had been cooled because United is not willing to spend a certain amount on these midfielders that they want to bring in, and so they are looking at a low cost kind of fits player. So there's been Ufana, there is Sander Berger. I mean, generally, what's your thoughts? Do you think these kinds of players are players that sort of fits exactly what we want to do? The profile fits exactly the kind of game model Erik ten Hag and the football leadership is trying to implement?
Look, let me tell you this. I don't know where the Sander Berger rumor came from and if it's legit.
It's from The Athletic.
Oh, really?
David Ornstein, yes.
And Laurie Whitwell.
Yes.
I would clap for Manchester United if it was actually true and it happens. You know why? Because a signing like that would actually tell me that the new team is working properly. In terms
Vivel is working.
Yes, that Mr. Wilcox, Vivel, and co are working, because it's the kind of signing that throws you completely off guard. It's from far left side of the park. You don't see it coming. But once you take your time to look at it carefully, it makes sense, because it's not just a money signing; it's a football signing.
True.
And I like moves like that. And the reason why I say so is because Manchester United haven't made a proper football move like that in a while. When the season ended, for instance, and we were talking about left backs, you know who I was mentioning as a good choice for us to take as left back? Alfie Doughty.
Yes, from Luton Town. I remember
Luton Town, yeah.
Nobody talks about Alfie Doughty. Yeah. Did you see Alfie Doughty's assist numbers in the league last season?
You know, the crosses that he whips into the box, very dangerous balls.
You know, and Alfie Doughty was fit the entire season. You know, a lot of people would go for a far more glamorous name, but I'm sitting back and I'm saying, and I'm remembering, wasn't Andy Robertson at how that got relegated? Look at him. Smart signing. I remember we tried signing a certain Sadio Mane from Southampton, and I remember at the time, United fans were like, Southampton.
I wish I had a that bell here. I will ring it for you. Preach.
You understand?
Preach.
You know, when Liverpool spent that money on Virgil van Dijk, everybody was like, a Southampton centre back? You are spending that kind of money on a Southampton centre back?
Preach.
He completely changed the outlook of the team. Not every important signing has to be a stylish, flamboyant name. Sometimes it's a very simple decision, a very simple, well-scouted player who comes in and changes completely the dynamic of your team. Alex Ferguson was very good at doing this. I'll tell you. An example for me was Michael Carrick. Yes, he was a bit popular. But at the time, Michael Carrick was not atop the list of signings or midfielders Manchester United would consider signing. You know?
To replace Roy Keane of all people.
You know? But if you look at the period before Michael Carrick came, and the season after, even just the season after he arrived, Michael Carrick's arrival completely changed the United midfield at the time. He was never a flamboyant player, but he served a purpose for the tactical output of the team. That is something I feel a Sander Berge can do. If you watch Sander Berge at Burnley, I think in my estimation, he was Burnley's best player. A left-footed central midfielder who can do a lot of things well. And he does it very simply. Tactically astute, knows what he's doing on the park. If a good coach finds him and adds quality around him, suddenly you look at him differently and you're like, you know, you're looking at a Wijnaldum from Newcastle to Liverpool type signing. Okay, so Sander Berge, people are not excited by it, but I'm privately sitting home and I'm like, God, let this be true. Sign Sander Berge for £0 and let him come in proper work. You see, because a footballer like that comes with a point to prove, unlike the others. And so those are the kind of signings that for me would actually tell me, oh, this person is working. So I like the Sander Berge rumor, like you guys have said, and it looks like it's more than that. And where it is coming from, I hope they pour more petrol on that.
This is what I want to read what the Athletic said when
what did they say?
This. Okay, Sander Berge, 26, emerged as a surprise midfielder on United's list of options, and the club officials have made contact with his camp. The Norwegian international was relegated with Burnley last season, but ranked highly in a series of metrics. And I'm going to read the metrics, including dribbles and pressured pass accuracy. Pressured pass accuracy. Berg had a very good game at Old Trafford last season, albeit making mistakes that gave Anthony the goal. Now he's 6 feet 5 inches, that's 195 centimeters. But according to the Premier League, yes, he hits a top speed of 35.90 kilometers per hour, the 10th fastest player of all players in the last campaign. Berge made 37 appearances last season. United are looking at a new number 6 and have held talks. Okay, so it talks about other things. So
yeah, I will not be annoyed with a signing like that, Kwame. I would not be annoyed.
I have spent 2 days actually scouting. You know this, Kwame. I've spent 2 days doing scouting jobs on this guy. I'm not ashamed to say it. I've been heavily scouting it. And every now and then I post in a private message what I see about this guy. The numbers don't lie. The numbers are incredible. Like when you actually, this is like you said, it's a properly scouted target. Not a big name, not a flamboyant name, but he sort of fits exactly what you want. And when the eye test is always important. The metrics are great, but the eye test is very important because I've been watching videos of him, his individual performances in certain games against Spurs, against Arsenal, against Chelsea, against United, against all the big teams. And his game is simple enough. You know, sometimes you just need that guy, like a cog in the wheel. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I felt I was watching Michael Carrick.
He's good, but there's a difference. The difference is this person is able to drive more with the ball than Carrick did.
Yes, Carrick would be stationary.
You know, Carrick can be stationary and
give you those
bring the ball anywhere he wants.
Anywhere he wants.
But
yes,
Berge can sort of drive with the ball. He rather reminds me of a target Eric Ten Hag wanted to sign in the very first place. Frankie de Jong.
In terms of the drive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In terms of the drive and keeping things simple. But what I like about him the most is he's a big boy. He's a big body in there. And height is a problem for me when it comes to Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag signings. I hate to do this, but I am still not comfortable with Lisandro Martinez being a 6-0 centre-back at Manchester United. He's our best centre-back, right? But this is the Premier League. Sometimes you need a bit of, a big body in there. Set pieces on both sides. You know what I'm trying to say? Just a big presence in there. So, get stuck in.
Yeah.
And he offers that as well. And he's not a sludge on the ground either. He actually covers ground quite well. I'm actually impressed.
Yeah.
And if you get him for that fee and he's actually a hit, people will then go back and, give Ineos a pat on the back and go like, this is not the norm. We don't usually do this.
Yeah.
But if this is how we are going to go, we credit Liverpool for doing this more often than anybody else.
Yeah.
And some of the names you mentioned, like the likes of Wijnaldum and
they've brought that guy back again.
Let me, we don't even have to go.
Even this Japanese who came last year.
Yes, Wataru.
That's what I'm saying. Even a Japanese who came last year.
Yes.
Exactly. So
he's been very good for Liverpool.
Yes, very good.
He's been very good.
Excellent, actually. And I'm thinking, why is it that others can do this and get all the credit for it? And when we are on the brink of doing such a thing, fans don't look back and go like, but you know what? Fine, Kevin Phillips did not work at Manchester City. But he came from a Leeds United team that had just been relegated, and Kevin Phillips was on top of the world before he went to Manchester City.
Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson was from Paul City.
No, we're talking about Liverpool, yeah? Yes. The Arsenal not signed Ramsdale from Sheffield United.
Sheffield United when he went.
And he became first team goalkeeper, eliminating Leno from goal. Like, teams are able to scout and do this based on profile and all those kind of things. But when it comes to Manchester United, it's a problem. But I think we are scared a bit. United fans, you know what? The thing is, it's PTSD all over. The reason being this. The last time we signed a player from the Championship was Dan James. You see, that's the problem. It was Dan James. So like people make it so simplistic sometimes. Like, you know, the last time that we signed a player from the Championship, you know who that player was? It was Dan James. And let's not go into how Dan James turned out. 2 years later, we're selling him because that guy was just not.
But you know the difference with these guys coming in. These are players who are in the Premier League and their teams got relegated. So you look at Sander Berge, his team was in the Premier League, they got relegated, and the team wants him. Why now?
But somebody also points to the fact that this is not even his first relegation.
Yes.
This is his second.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to draw a trend on the players that went, their team just go on relegation, and then the teams go to get some of these players to come in. So the argument, I don't want us to waste time on it because see, like we have rightly said here, it's a profile sign. Like you've profiled a player, you've looked at the attributes, you feel that this player can come in and do a job. And that's exactly what teams do. Liverpool have run a model from, what's his name, Michael Edwards, his first time with the club. They were doing signing based on, they had this Ian Graham, all these guys putting together solid models to help them getting players to come to fit a particular style, a particular trend.
Game model, yeah.
Exactly.
Model.
That's what they do. They look at the attributes of the players and then bring in these players to fit that. And that's what United is trying to do. I mean, we are looking at what would need in that, what kind of profile would be needed in that midfield to be able to solve that specific problem for us. And that's what we are doing. So it always won't come, like Godfred said, it always won't come with these players who we feel are very flamboyant or very known names who should come in there to do something for us. So it's always like that.
Kwame, just
I want us to just give 1 minute so I go on a break and then we can come back.
Just before we move on from this, the other critique with this signing is when you look at Ugate's profile and you look at Sander Berge's profile, they're not the same.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. So it makes you ask,
what are we really?
If you have a game model, and you know exactly the kind of midfielder you need to fit that game model,
what are we really looking?
Why do you chase your first choice, who is markedly different from your second choice? That's also another thing.
That's a fair critique because even the players that have been mentioned, from Fofana to Ugarte to Zubimendi to now Sander Berge, these are all different profiles. But anyway, let's go.
We'll get lucky and just pick the right one.
Come again, Godfred.
I was saying I like Fofana as well, but I'll take Sander Berge because he's used to the Premier League.
That's a plus. That's a plus. Anyway, so let's make a quick turnaround. When we come back, we would look at the Community Shield between Manchester City and Manchester United. We'll try and preview that game, and then we'll look a bit at a team that signs a player every 2 market days. We'll be right back after this. All right, so we are back once again here on United and Everything Football Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed everything. Remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Let's continue to grow the community together. We know you enjoy it. Like Danny K said the other time.
So that way, some of you are weak. You've watched the thing, you just watch, you laugh, then you move. Then you don't have time. It's not painful. Just tap. That's all.
It's very, very important that you subscribe to the channel. Let's grow it together. All right, guys. So Paul Scholes, I don't know if you guys have watched, or our audience, if you've watched the overlap, the fan edition. Paul Scholes was asked about United, where we are likely to finish. Sure, based off on the works that we've done in the market and the team that we are parading and everything. He said that the best position we'll finish this season is fourth. A lot of people seem to think that there is a bit of truth in that, given how the business is going, but we'll get to see how the business ends by August 31st to see if we can put ourselves in a better position than what Paul Scholes has given up. Godfrey, do you generally agree with Scholes and a few other fans who believe that, well, the best position we can get this season is fourth position?
Well, it's understandable because a lot of people don't trust Erik ten Hag yet. He hasn't shown enough, coupled with the fact that the freshness that they want to see in the team in terms of recruits have not come. Yeah. So if you put the two circumstances together, the only kind of hope you can have is fourth place hope. And that is a bright-eyed optimist. Because I think a lot of teams have gotten better. Yeah. A lot of teams, I think, have coaches who are a bit clearer in what they want to do with their teams and whose players better understand what the coach wants them to do. So execution-wise, they are ahead of Manchester United and Ten Hag. Yeah. I think the biggest task for Ten Hag this season, if anything, is to coach. I think last year Erik ten Hag didn't coach, and he has blamed a lot of factors for this: the injuries, the fact that he never had a consistent back line, he didn't have the kind of profiles that he wanted. He still doesn't have all the profiles that he wants. A lot of players, the back line is still shaky looking at going into that game on Saturday. There's quite a lot of injuries. But I think the biggest job for Ten Hag this season is the coaching job, where we need to see his fingerprints, his imprints on the team in terms of how the team is set up, in terms of how the team takes on, in terms of an identity. I guess that is the word I am looking for. A lot of the teams who are doing well now seem to have an identity. And what really annoyed me last season about Ten Hag and his inability to establish this was Olivier Glasner arriving at Crystal Palace. And in 3 months, if you watched Crystal Palace prior to Glasner coming and the month after Glasner over, you could clearly tell that this man had gone to the training ground and had clearly told them that this is what I want to see. This is who is going to do it for me, and this is how you do it. I think Ten Hag has not been able to do that the way he succeeded at Ajax with it. For me, if United are to exceed the expectations of fourth place, it's not just about the signings that will come in. It's about, I think the biggest new signing we will get is the coaching job that Erik ten Hag is able to do this season. I think he'll have to coach out of his mind this year if United are to, do well.
And he's refreshed his backroom staff as well. So hope that there is new perspectives, the new ideas. Now there is
Ferguson used to do that a lot.
Yes.
Yes. But Kwame, the thing with, you see, and this is a difficulty for me just before we go.
Okay.
When Ferguson took those decisions, look, Ferguson brought in Carlos Queiroz for a reason. Ferguson brought in Rene Meulensteen for a reason. Everybody that Ferguson brought in, as soon as that season started, you could tell why Ferguson had brought in this person. You could clearly tell. When we brought in Ten Hag last season, what exactly was Walter van der Gaag's role?
Mitchell.
You understand? Was he the defensive mind? What was Steve McLaren's role with what was supposed to happen? So now we have Ruud van Nistelrooy in, and then we have the other guy,
Rene Hake,
Rene Hake as well. Hopefully, they are able to help. Particularly, I think the Rene Hake is a systems kind of guy. From what I've seen, perhaps he might be the one who has a lot more influence on Ten Hag, and we see how it plays out on the football pitch. Preseason, I haven't seen too much. Haven't seen too much preseason. Hopefully, he's hiding it for the big season.
Kwame.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes, the ginger man who always throws bombs.
Huge bombs all
He
the
has
time.
this razor sharp tongue.
I can understand him from a normal football fan's point of view, and he speaks like a fan most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily some in-depth punditry that he does. He speaks like a fan most of the time.
Yeah, he speaks like all of us.
Nobody's really excited by how the window has actually gone. And the window is almost always the precursor for, how you think the season is going to go. If we had cleared out the players we were supposed to clear out and brought in 4 or 5 new signings, you would have cause to be excited. But we just signed 2 players, and one of them is injured. And the other one is not even fit enough to even start.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So you're like, you are actually worse off squad-wise than you were last season. So where's the room for optimism? But this is me now. I was one of the people who was crying out for continuity because I've always believed that the state of the United job requires a manager having enough time to have an imprint on the squad, to be able to build and get us somewhere. We've tried to do that with 2 previous managers. Jose Mourinho went the longest haul, 2.5 years. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went 3 years, actually the longest.
Yeah.
We gave the most incompetent person the longest amount of time to try and turn things around. It did not work. We did not back Jose Mourinho in his last season when we were supposed to. I don't want the same thing to happen with Erik ten Hag now for him to have an excuse. That's why I'm desperate for this window to go well. The reason being this. If Erik ten Hag gets the players we expect him to get, that is Delete, Mazraoui,
and then the midfielder.
Let's assume it's Sander Berger. No, let's just even assume it's our first choice target, being Manuel Legati. Do you know that ever since Erik ten Hag took charge, he would have signed about 13 permanent players. At least one player in each position. When you take our goalkeeping department, you have Andre Onana and Banye there who are signed Erik ten Hag signings. You come to central defense, you are talking about Lenny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez, and Matthias De Ligt. 3 of them.
Even if you can add Johnny Evans to it. Johnny Evans is also signing.
You see, I have a way I look at Johnny Evans. You know, right? I look at Johnny Evans a totally different way. He's just
Fletcher's friend that was invited to train with us and got in.
He'll be coaching next year. He's just there. And then at right back, you're talking about Mazraoui. At left back, you're talking about Taro Malacia.
Yeah.
In central midfield, you're talking about Casemiro, and Sanderberg or an Ugarte. You're talking about Mason Mount. You're talking about Christian Eriksen. These are about 4 players in central midfield. Yeah. Right? When you go to the wing,
Anthony.
Even in midfield, we can talk about Menu as his own addition.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm talking about 4 of them. On the left wing, Garnacho is the revelation you brought through. On the right wing,
Anthony.
At centre forward position, you've signed 2 strikers.
Zexi and
Højlund.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that after signing a whole new 11, plus a goalkeeper, plus Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, all these other good players, because these are not bad players, good players, in addition to your signings, I'm talking about 15, 16, 17, 18 good players at Manchester United. And this is not a manager who heavily rotates. He turns to his main guys. If you can coach this team to deliver in your 3rd season, the 3rd season that we're all crying for, we're not even talking about an extension. His original contract was 3 years. And I was saying, if after 3 years you cannot get us playing the way that you want and where we want to get to, then you have no reason for being in the job.
Yep.
So get him his players this summer.
Yeah.
I see this lineup, I see this squad, and I'm looking at it. This is your team.
Yeah.
We should see your imprint on the team. You should deliver the results that we want. Otherwise, you shouldn't see out the next year of your contract. It's as simple as that. It's consistent. I've been consistent about it throughout from last year, and I'm going to carry it out throughout next year as well.
Yeah.
If he doesn't deliver in his 3rd season, it's enough time. 3 years is enough.
Yeah.
If you can't, you have to leave. I'm expecting the bare minimum to be a top 4 finish, but with a specific points tally.
Mm-hmm.
We should make 80 plus points. If you want a sign of progress, the league is always the sign of progress. We always say that. It's not about winning cups. Cups are lovely for football fans. It's great. I felt fantastic last year. If anybody tells you I wasn't happy, that is a bloody lie. For 6 years, I was always in tears. And this guy delivered back-to-back trophies. That's great. But I know the team isn't where it's supposed to be.
True.
Eric Ten Hag made 75 points in his first season. That's the second highest points tally in the last 11 years. The highest being Jose Mourinho's
82.
second season, where he made 81 points.
81, sorry. Yeah.
No United team in the past 11 years has made 80 points. If you made 75 points your first season, I think you can make 80 points by your third season.
Mm-hmm.
And we would all sit back and go like, if you're making 80 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are next to challenging. 80 points would 100% get you a top 4 spot.
Mm.
It may even get you second spot. It may get you third spot. But it's 100% a top 4 spot. But you look at it as progress.
Okay.
If you add a trophy to that, he's a trophy winning manager. If you add a trophy to that, I'll be okay.
Well, that's a very good one. It looks as if we all agree with Paul Scholes. If the additions are not made, definitely we are not going to make the next step as we are all hoping for. So we'll see how it goes. But the action starts this weekend. Godfred, what's your thoughts? Is the Community Shield a proper trophy or a glorified friendly?
Well, it depends on what you want out of it. I have always looked at it as a game where I can enjoy my team if they are playing and what portends for the new season. But I've never really read too much into its significance. We've seen coaches try a few things. Also, we've seen coaches take their feet off the accelerator with these games because they don't want players to get injured for the season proper. So you might be looking forward to seeing some new signing, but then he only plays 20 minutes. Or he plays the first half and he doesn't play the second half. Because nobody is going to spend 50, 60, 70 million these days and then risk that player in a full-blooded Community Shield match. I think even both teams kind of have an understanding, albeit unspoken, that look, this is a game that we play in second and third gear. Of course, we've seen some of them play full-blooded, but I don't think this will be one of those games on Saturday. Or is it Saturday or Sunday? Saturday afternoon. Why are we having a Community Shield on a Saturday?
It's become the norm now because the league games are now starting on Fridays. So United play on a Friday at Fulham. So I'm sure getting them enough time to prepare for the league game.
Yeah, so Saturday should be fun. I think we're going to get whooped. City will have a point to prove. Again, they look like a very well-organized team with a clear identity, a clear sense of what they want to do. They have an awesome bunch of kids sitting on the bench who are ready to impress if called upon. And I think we'll see a lot more of those kids we saw in preseason on Saturday than we would see most of the senior players who are beginning to come into their own. Before the start of the season. We will also have some. I'm particularly looking for. What do you guys make of Amos? I like Amos.
Amos, yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I think he will start the game at left back if I'm not mistaken on Saturday. I can't understand Luke Shaw. You are injured the whole season. Go to the Euros, come back, and we still can't get you on the football pitch. Sack that guy. Look, they should.
I agree.
I am with you.
Add him to the exit. I think we should start giving his minutes to the Amos kid and sign or Amas or sign somebody else. But the Amas kid, I don't know if you guys had watched him at the academy, but he plays a lot more mature than his age. I like he's a bit technical. Also looks like he likes the tackle.
The slides. Yes.
Yeah, I enjoy a fullback who likes to defend. These days, all the fullbacks turn into stylish defenders. I like the old school once in a while.
My friend is typically old school. He likes the David De Gea's, like stick to your role. If you're a goalkeeper, you're a goalkeeper. Forget the ball play.
Then let me ask you, are you happy about us getting rid of Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the first place?
Wan-Bissaka I have a problem with because he doesn't give balance.
Mm.
You see, although I like my fullback being able to defend, traditionally as well, the fullback has also always been decent going forward. Wan-Bissaka is inconsistent going forward. He has moments. There are moments when he looks like World Pele when he goes forward. Then there are moments when he goes forward and you're like, how is this guy a professional footballer?
Exactly.
You know, and those switches are too far in between for me to contend with.
Yeah.
You know, and look, United needs to be on the front foot a lot of games. Wan-Bissaka does not give us the opportunity to play that kind of football because it's simply not in his skill set. There are things he's good for. And that's why I think United should be, look, sometimes absorb the losses. I understand Ineos trying to balance the books with some of these things. But look, if somebody offers you 10 million for Wan-Bissaka and want him gone, take the 10 million and kick him out. But per the dynamics that you also gave us, perhaps it's a lot more intricate than that. But other than that, on Saturday, look, let me see more of Amas or Amos, which however his name is pronounced. Whoever is partnering Lisandro there, let's have a look. I want to see what Casemiro brings this season. He's a player I still have a lot of faith in. He's a player I have a lot of faith in. I know.
No, I'm actually with you. Actually,
we are all on the same page.
Exactly.
The other fans.
We are all on the page.
Okay,
exactly.
I'm good.
Not the other fans. I'm sure the other fans are still chastised.
For a player who has only had one bad season in his life, he doesn't become a bad footballer overnight. Yeah. It's just it doesn't make sense to me.
You know, and I want to see, and that's the problem of Ten Hag's inability to coach. For me, he's making a lot of really good players look bad. I hope he's able to fix that. Somebody said he needs the material. Well, find a way. I'm looking forward to Casemiro having a blockbuster season starting this Saturday. Where are the goals going to come from? And I don't want to mention Jadon Sancho. I don't think he will be able to deliver. He's going to give us moments in bits and pieces. Yeah. I say if the money comes, sell him as well.
Quick. Agreed.
Sell him. It's for false nine business is not going to work. One kid I don't want to see in our first team is the Whitley kid everybody's hyping. Masa Emfa.
Oh, he's not good enough.
The Whitley
kid
Emfa.
We've called it this preseason. He's not good enough.
I can tell already that Emfa, unlike Amas and Collier, you know, give them Collier. I'm looking forward to Amad Diallo a lot this season. You see, and this is where sometimes I have problems with Ten Hag. He should not come and play favorites with Amad and Anthony. Anthony is not at Amad's level at the moment. Amad has the confidence. Let him play. Let him build it. Though we made this mistake with Anthony Martial when Alexis Sanchez came.
Yeah.
If a lot of people forget, the window before Alexis Sanchez came, Anthony Martial was having perhaps his best ever start to a season. Then I think we signed Sanchez in January.
Yes, January.
Kofi Piano. Yes, we signed Kofi Piano in January. And completely ruined Anthony Martial because Jose Mourinho decided that all the minutes that Anthony Martial was going to get would go to Sanchez. And even though it wasn't working, we were like, okay, this guy costs us a lot of money. He must be played into form. Yeah. We cannot do that with Anthony. It won't work. Amad would rather be played into form because we have seen that if Amad is in form, he's going to be a lot more useful to the general team structure. And that is very important. Anthony doesn't help the team structure in any way, in my estimation. Amad, I think, offers a lot more in terms of our overall team structure and pattern. So Saturday, those are the little things I will go for. If we end up beating them again, I will take it.
Kwame, a quick one, then let's switch. Quick one, what's your expectation?
It's a glorified friendly. I don't really put much into the result. But I think the community shield is always driven, the intensity of it, the game, is always driven by narrative. What is between the two teams leading up to it. And there is something now, because we've gone back-to-back FA Cup finals. They've won one. We've beaten them in another. So this seems to be like a tiebreaker.
As someone said, draw. So let's settle it.
Draw. Let's settle it. That's the only narrative that sort of puts something to it. Besides that, Community Shield. See, if we're counting Community Shields, you know how many trophies Ferguson would have officially.
That would have been like 60 or 60 plus trophies if we had
Crazy. It does. Unfortunately, in England, it doesn't count as a major trophy. It counts for nothing. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't really count for anything.
Yeah.
It's just the bragging rights and all that. It would be nice to beat City again at Wembley. And our coach seems to take this thing like how Jose. The winners take everything personal. Jose Mourinho counted the Community Shield as part of a trouble. Like he shamelessly counted it as shamelessly counted it as part of a treble. If this coach wins it, he would say after the press conference that, you know what, Manchester United hadn't won any trophy in 6 years, and I've won 3 trophies in 3 years. Take that.
All right. All right. So we would look forward to that game where we see how it plays out when United come up against Manchester City. In that, the new team news is that we only have 3 fit senior defenders for this game. As it stands,
this defense, I've been telling you, the defense. I've been telling you since January. The defense, I am tired. Sell everybody, and buy a whole new defense. It solves everything. Trust me.
And sell the physical trainer too.
What's his name? It's Charlie Owen.
Apparently,
Charlie
Owen.
We
have a physical trainer.
We have
a physical trainer.
Don't you see the guy? He's always the one leading them in the jogging and other things.
He's the last holdover from the Ole era. It's true. That guy.
It's true. I'm projecting his picture for those who don't know him. That's him. He's always running with the people.
I also think that our back line, people forget, Maguire is almost 32 years. See, if you have a problem with Rafa Varane growing and then becoming so injury prone, Maguire is almost 32 years. Lindelof is 30 years old. Johnny Evans is 36 years old. They are the back end of their career, so you don't expect them to be fit all the time in a vigorous English Premier League. Get rid of them. Get younger. Unfortunately, the young guy that we went to buy lasted 2 games. So what? See, we are cursed. What can you even say?
Oh God. Krabi. All right, we'll see how it goes. All right, so let's make a quick turnaround. When we come back, we discuss everything football. All right, so we are back. This is Everything Football. Everything Football today focuses on the blue side of England. They say they are the pride. I didn't want to say they are the pride of London.
Which team is the best team in London? Which team is the best team in London?
At the moment, I think Arsenal is the best team in London. I don't know.
Have they always been?
What goes against them is...
I mean, Chelsea. Europe. Yes, I think Chelsea overtook them in the past decade. The past decade. So I think
the past decade, yes. That's
the past decade. Chelsea overtaking them as the best team in London.
Yeah. Anyway, let's focus on them then. They are always signing a player every 2 market days. Just this evening, before we started the recording, they assigned a goalkeeper. Now, how many goalkeepers now? Including Kepa Arrizabalaga, 7 goalkeepers. They have a squad of like 8. Oh God. 8, how do you call it? 44 players signed so far.
44 first team.
44 first team players. Let me put it that way. Godfred, what's the project all about?
Nobody knows what the project is about.
Where is it?
Nobody knows what the project is about. But the thing is this. I think that the American owners have a very American approach to running the football club. And if you like baseball, there's a chap called Billy Bean who used to run a baseball team called the Oakland A's, the Athletics. The Oakland A's were not a very good baseball team. So Billy Bean came up. He liked data. He basically was responsible for the fusion of high-end data into sports. At the time, it wasn't popular. And he started running these metrics where they were projecting, okay, so Kwame is 24. In 2 years, Kwame gives you 5 assists a season. His XG is this and this. He will cost you this year. In 2 years, he'll be worth this.
Okay.
And basically built a formidable championship team that made a lot of money. Okay. A lot of baseball teams took up that model. A lot of American sports teams took up that model. and run with it. And I see a lot of that with the current Chelsea project, where Clear Lake and its assigns are basically buying players from all over, feeding them into their group teams, and in the end, looking at how they can make money. Let's not forget, Clear Lake is an investment company.
True.
In the end, that is what they do. The money must come from somewhere. So this is them basically buying stocks in players. It does not matter whether the players will go to Chelsea immediately, whether they'll succeed, but they are hedging bets on high-end talent that they think will pay off. If it doesn't pay off, we throw you in the garbage, bring some more. Hopefully, we get one that we buy for 10 million and able to sell for 100 million after winning 2 titles and the Champions League in between, and we are good to go. And with football, those are the margins, really. You just need one big one, and all those losses will be clear. Look at Man City. Bought Julian Alvarez for 17 million. 2 or 3 years later, they are selling for 70-something million. It clears a lot of damage. You understand? So I think that is the Clear Lake step. It's a very American style, and people who are used to European style football might look at it and be surprised. But if you're a fan of American style sports, Americans will look at what they are doing and say, oh, that's good business. But those in Europe will look at it and say, what kind of dysfunctional recruiting system is this? Yeah, I look at it as simply buying stocks by Clear Lake and investing in them. We saw a bit of this with Michael.
Not to cut you out, I just need clarification.
Yes.
Clear Lake actually own the New York Yankees, if I'm not mistaken. I think they do.
Yes.
So I think what you are saying is just if they have a team like that, a baseball team, it's just probably the same person.
It's a model that is actually working for them somewhere. So let's bring it.
It's a model that has worked.
They've borrowed it.
Yes, it's a model that has worked effectively for baseball. It's not always been successful. But if you look at the margins that have come and the teams that have practiced this, who have taken this model from Billy Bean. In fact, Billy Bean is somebody Alex Ferguson brought in a couple of years ago to have a chat with about that system. I think Ferguson realized it wasn't for football, and so they didn't apply.
Exactly. There, you hit the nail on the head. It's not for football. What they're doing is not for football. It's not.
So it's pretty interesting how it will turn out. Like I said, Michael Emenalo did this with Marina Granovskaya. And look, Chelsea made a lot of money from it. I think Chelsea ran at the time the most successful loan farm we had ever seen in European football. Every player were going left, right, center. They will collect 10 million here. They collect 15 here. They collect 20 here. End of the year, they are holding 200 million. You don't know where it came from. But from players whose name you cannot mention. People forget players like Mario Pasalic used to play for Chelsea.
Yes. Charlie Musonda.
All kinds of players came in there. So I think what they've done is replicated that at a very high level. Whether it pays off, only time will tell. But people need to understand that this is a very American business sports style approach to running a football team. For those of us from traditional football backgrounds, this would not make sense. But for them, I guess it pays off. And here's the thing, just to even tell you this, Chelsea hired a new scout, have hired 2 new scouts for Africa. So they hired Achiru, formerly of Dansuma Wise, and Sheyo Lofinjana, who used to play for Wolverhampton. Now they've hired scouts as well in South America. Now, here's the thing. All those scouts used to work for the same agency.
Whoa.
All those scouts used to work for one agency. Now, that one agency is responsible for Moise Caicedo. Now, that same agency is responsible for Kendry Paez, who came in.
Can I add Estavao to, is it the same agency?
No, the William Esteval is not coming from there. But I just want you to understand. But if you look at all of this, one name will come in, and Google the name, Ali Barat. Ali Barat was World Agent of the Year last year. A lot of people don't know Ali Barat. People know the Pini Zalavis and know the Jorge Mendeses. But Ali Barat is perhaps the biggest deal maker in English football right now. A lot of deals get done. You will even see his name on the list, but that deal is not getting done without Ali Barat say so. He's the owner of Elite Sports Agency. And they have a partnership with Chelsea. So a lot of these things that are going around is just business for them. So you hear this one is going to Strasbourg. They buy this one, they push this one there, all those things. In the end, it's about making sure that how much money do we have invested in these players? How much money are we going to make out of these players? I will tell you, if we had access to their projections, you would see that every player is expected maybe in 2 years to bring X amount. What is the highest? What is the medium? What is the lowest? All those things. That's sports for you.
Kwame, I won't give you time. Let's end on that note.
I just had one line to say. The difference between what they're doing now and what Chelsea was before was Chelsea was still doing business
and winning.
Godfrey rightly pointed out. But for the first team, they made sure that they still bought some of the best players in the world to make sure that they were still competitive. So they're doing both alongside. But now they have a bunch of... See, Chelsea fans are saying they should even give them a transfer back because every morning when they wake up, they are signing a new player that they don't even know about. They don't care.
But Kwame, listen to this. If just to add, how come Chelsea players are all being signed for 7 years?
I can't even.
It's long term. They've calculated the numbers.
They have done the projections and other things.
Projections.
Yes, to see.
You know that they won't get those things in 3 or 4 years. 7 years is more than enough time to get the money back.
Wow. Anyway, so already Omari Hutchinson has moved to Ipswich, and it came at a profit for them. So you can you could see how things.
We'll see whether Detro Fofana is sold for a profit. We'll see.
And also already they want to sell
sold for a profit. He'll be sold for a profit.
Already Kasede is also being tried. They are trying to sell Kasede to.
Yes.
So we'll see. So that's the business. So Chelsea fans, if you watch this is an in-depth analysis of what is really happening, and you won't get it anywhere. And our own senior Godfrey Akoto Boafo always comes with this depth of analysis that thank you very much, Godfrey. We really appreciate your time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for watching.
You're welcome.
Subscribing and liking. Please remember to like it because your likes does a lot for the channel. It helps us a lot.
Glory, glory, my United. Glory, my. Hopefully we are singing Saturday.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
We'll see you on the next one. Have a great time. Bye-bye.